Okay, so hello everyone. So today we are going to learn in this video the lesson that we already explained and learned in the previous class, which is land capability analysis. Here I'm going to show you how with the QGIS. So we get the data already in the land capability analysis in materials. You can also access this file in the link below, or I'll send to you. Okay, so here we get the elevation, morphology, rainfall, slope, soil type, and vulnerability of ground movement. So here's the data that we need. We can just drag the data here. So this is the data. As we already explained before, each of these data need to be filled by the value from the guide. So here we have the guide from the Permen PU number 20 at 2007. So here is the guide. It is in Indonesia. You can translate this into English or in your language. So here's the guide. There is the morphology map. Like as we explained before, that we need to make the land capability unit map first. Then we will overlay that to get the capability value from this land. Yeah. So here is the, for example, land capability units for morphology, and then the next one is the land capability units for ease of work, etc. So here we got 9 land capability units. So each of these we need to fill the value from this get, yeah, for each of the land capability units. So for example, we'll open the maps. So we need to fill the morphology maps and the slope. So here we open the morphology map. Here we can open attribute table, and then we can here create a new field with the name is LCU1. So for example, here we already get the LCU1, but I'll show you how to create it. So here LCU1, the number is decimal number. And because we already have the LCU1, we can add A, or yeah, it's like this, and you can click OK. But since we already have the LCU1, we don't need that. So here is the LCU1 for morphology. And then you can fill the value based on this guide, yeah. So for example, for perbukitan terjal, steep hills, the value is 1. So here you fill 1. You can just type 1 in here. And then dataran landai, sloping plains, here is 5. The value is 5. You can fill it like this. And then perbukitan landai, dataran bergelombang, and perbukitan sedang. You can fill this the same value for from this guide here. So we need to do this also with the slope kelerengan. We need to do this also with the slope until we get all of the LCU. So here we fill, yeah, for example, LC1, and then we go scroll the guides for LCU2 like this. We fill the value also, the LCU2, we create a new field. For example, create a new field. We create a new field again, LCU2. Don't forget to change the type to decimal number, and so on. So we need to get all of the LCU that needs the morphology maps, yeah. The morphology data, for example, this is LCU3. We need the morphology, for example. And then the morphology, the LCU4, here we don't need the morphology map. So in the LCU4, we don't need the morphology map. So we don't create a new field in here. But in LCU5, this we need the morphology map. So we create a field, new field for LCU5, and so on. and then we can save our edits and uh, inactivate the editing mode. So here we get all of our value. So then after that, we need to convert this to raster. So we can here in the raster toolbar, yeah, and then we can choose the conversion and choose rasterize like this, and then we choose the morphology layer and fill to use. Here we need every of the LCU. So for example, here we create LCU1, and then we can set the output raster size units is georeference units. In the previous class, I said the pixels, but the correct one is georeference units. And then here the horizontal resolution, for example, we give it 100. It it should be the same resolution, yeah, for every of our raster. So here we get it, we do it with 100, and then don't forget to save the file, for example. So here we can save the file, for example, in the process, and then LC1 morphology like this. We can click in here LC1 morphology. So here, so we take the LC1 is easy because we name it LC1 morphology and LC1, for example, slope, yeah, and so on. So we can run this with easy, then can choose yes, and then we can run. Okay, so here we already get the LC1 for morphology. Here is the results. And we do this for every of our LCU. So we go to conversion and rasterize again. And then we choose LCU2. And then we can save the file. And we can choose the resolution first, yeah. Rasterize units. And then here is 100. Like this. And then save to file, for example, LCU2 morphology. Like this. LCU2 morphology. Then we can save it. And then we can run. And then we can go again. We change the LCU to LCU3. And then we can change here with LCU3, and then we can run because the setting is the same, yeah. So we only change the LCU number, LCU5, and then LCU5, and so on. So here we should rasterize all of the LCU from morphology, rainfall, slope, soil type, etc. For example, in slope, in rainfall, for example, we can open that attribute table. And then here there is the LCU3, LCU5, LCU6, 7, 8, 9. And in the soil type, it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So we need to convert all of this. And the data that is already converted is in here, in the process here. I already converted this, so you can practice this with easy. So here we get LCU1, LCU2, 3, 4 until 9, yeah. And then after that, we need to do the calculation using Russell calculator. So here we can add the data from LCU morphology and slope. For example, we will run for LCU1. For example, we need to check in the properties that the cell size is the same. You can see the pixel size is 100, and then the slope is also 100 in here. Pixel size is the same. Okay, so we have our data. So and then we need to see in the guides what are the data that is needed for each LCU. So for example, in LCU1, it only needs the morphology and slope, but in LCU2, we need the morphology, slope, elevation, and soil type, and so on. So we can calculate this with the right data. Yeah. So next, we need to calculate using the raster calculator. So here we search in our processing toolbox, raster calculator. Okay, so here we can calculate this by double click in LCU1, for example, LCU1 slope. Then we can multiply. I'm sorry, we can plus, can add with the morphology data. Okay, like this, and then we can divide by 2 because there is 2 data. Yeah. So for example, for the LCU2, we can divide by 1, 2, 3, 4 because we need 4 data for this. So here is the calculation, and then we can reference layer. We can choose the reference layer. Here we choose the, for example, LC1 morphology, and then the other we can leave it blank, and then we save the file. Here we will save the file, for example, output LCU1 like this. We can save output LCU1 and then we can run. So here is the result for the LCU1. It is different from the morphology and the slope. So here is the LCU1. We do this for every of the LCU. So for example, for LCU2, we need 4 data. We can drag in here and then raster calculator, open raster calculator, and then we can add the data, for example, elevation plus morphology plus soil slope plus soil type, and then we can divide it by 4 because we need 4 data, and then the reference layer, don't forget, we choose, for example, output LCU1, and then we can save output to output LCU2, and then we can run. So here we get the LCU2 like this, and we do this until we get the 9 LCU, the 9 land capability units. We do this by also look at the guide, so we don't do it wrong like this. So and then after we get all of the output LCU, we can, for example, add all of these in our canvas, our map, like this. Okay, this is the 9 LCU. Okay, then we need to get the capability value by look at the guides in the below. After we get all of our LCU, our 9 LCU, we will see in the land capability analysis in the weight. Yeah, we need to see the weight for each of our LCU, and we need to calculate. We need to overlay all of our layer by multiply it by the weight. Yeah. So here we can open the raster calculator again, and then we can input the LCU, the output of each LCU, for example, LCU1, and then we can multiply it by the weight. For example, here is 5. Output LCU multiply by 5, and then plus the next one, output LCU2 multiply by, for example, here is 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, and then we can plus LCU3 multiply by 5, we can plus the LCU4 multiply by 3, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 355. And then we can plus LCU5 multiply by 5. And then we can plus the LCU6 multiply by 5. And then we can calculate here 305. LCU7 3 multiply by 3, and then plus LCU8 multiply by 0, and we plus LCU9 multiply by 5. Okay, 515,355,305. Okay, so here we get all of our data. We don't need to divide it. So it is just the sum of the LCU multiplied by each of its weight. So here we can choose the reference layer. Don't forget, for example, LCU1, and then we can save to file. Here, for example, land capability analysis, we can give 2 because I already done it before. For example, here, and then we can run this. Okay, so here we already get our land capability map, yeah. Land capability map value that is range from 60 until 130. So here, if we look at the guides, the class is the range of the class is from 32 until 160. This the lowest is 32 and the highest is 160. So the next one, after we get our map, our capability analysis, we need to reclassify by each of these class here, the class of the capability. So here we open the reclassify tools, reclassify by table like this, reclassify by table. And then we can choose the reclassification table. We add 5 rows here because this is 5 rows. Add rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we fill the minimum and the maximum by this value here. For example, in the one is 32 until 58. So here we fill this until 58. We can give value 1. And then the next one is 58 until 83. We give it 2. And then the third one is 83 until 109. We give it 3. And then 109, 134. This is 4. And the last one is 134 until 160. We give it 5. So this is the new class and this is the range. So for example, if the class is between 32 and 58, it will be in the first class. I mean the 1, yeah, the value is 1. It is the very low capability. And if the value is between 134 until 160, the value is 5, which is, if we look at the guide, is very high capability. We can click OK. And then here we can save to file, land capability reclass. We can name it like this. And then I will add 2 because I already done it before. And then we can run this. Okay, so here we get 3 classes here. If we open the properties and symbology, we can choose the unique value, for example, and classify. So here we get 3 class, which is range between our data. Yeah, it is from 60 until 130, like this. And then we can choose, for example, the color. Okay, so like this. Maybe I will choose the different color, for example, like this. So here the black one is number 2, which is low capability, and then the next one is the blue, is the medium capability, and the soft blue, yeah, the lighter blue is the high capability. So here we get our capability analysis, capability maps, yeah, based on the guide. After this, we need to convert the raster layer, because this is the raster layer, to polygon. So we can calculate the area. So we need to choose in the raster and conversion and polygonize. So here we choose the land capability class 2, and then we can name of the field. We can change it with the class like this, and then we can save the file, save to file land capability class number 2. I'll add 2, and then we can run. So here the land capability class, we can see this is the attribute table. Here we still need one more step again to simplify this class here, because this is so many number 3 and so many number 4, because each pixel will have its of polygon here. So here we go to vector and we need to dissolve this in the geoprocessing tools and choose dissolve. And we choose the land capability class 2. The dissolve field is class. Okay, and then we can save the file with land capability class dissolve. I'll add 2 like this, and we can run this. So if we open the dissolved polygon, here we only get 3 classes here. Class 1, class 4, class 2, class 4, and class 3, maybe like this. So it is more sorted. Yeah, class 2, class 3, class 4. And we can here calculate the area. We open the field calculator. And then like this, we create a new field like this. For example, this is area. And then we choose the decimal number. And here we choose the geometry and choose $area. Here, the unit is in meters. So we need to convert this, for example, to hectares. This is the standard, yeah, in Indonesia. We need to convert this to hectares. So and then we can click OK. We can divide it by 10,000, yeah, and then we can click OK. So here's the area in the hectare. We can save this and inactivate. So here the area for each class, we can see that the tiniest, the smallest area is the class number 2, and the highest is the class number 4. So like this. So based on this calculation from the capability analysis, you can then see the guides, what is the recommendation for each class. For example, in the low capability, we can only we can use this land as, for example, the greenery, the forest, the production forest, etc. So here you need to see at the recommendation for each class. Okay, so here is all of the tutorial which explain about the land capability analysis. You can change the symbology like this, for example, to better visualize your maps. Okay, so here we already discussed, learn about the land capability. So hopefully you can try this, and see you.